Alright, so this is part 7, I believe, of the spring development. This right here is the spring head. There's not a whole lot to talk about. I just basically have the spring underneath, the water's coming through. I've got the rocks under there like you saw in the other videos. There's a layer of plastic on top of the rocks, and then I have dirt on top of that, and I need to just finish filling that in. And then I actually have this right here that you see is a second layer of plastic with more dirt on top of it. And I just kind of wanted to do that for extra protection of the whole thing in case of like a hole got punched in it anywhere. It should be fine, but like I said, not a whole lot to talk about. Just need to finish filling that, you know, all the way up to the right level. And then I'm going to fill it all the way up here and all around. Put these little stones in right here because my wife came out here and slipped down the hill when she was looking at what I've been doing. And of course, this is the standpipe that's going to be exposed. It should be, you know, filled all the way up to here with dirt, and that'll be what I can fill in with hypochlorite if I ever need to disinfect the system. Got the overflow coming out. You come down here, and I put the spring box right here. So basically, this is just a 55-gallon potable water storage barrel. I have the intake coming from the spring head going into the spring box, and it's got enough pressure to where it fills up above that level. I've got the overflow coming out, and I dug a trench right next to the creek leading all the way down next to the creek. I'm going to try to fill that in with stones and keep the wall nice and strong. Let's see here. Got the electrical coming out just like you saw in the last video. I put an air vent in. I'm not sure if that was in the last video or not, but this thing is sealed with a gasket. It's nice and tight, airtight and watertight. And when the water level is up to the top, the pump kicks on and sucks it down about 4 to 6 inches. And a lot of air would get sucked out of it, or would need to be sucked out of it. So I put the vent in to help not cause a vacuum problem and blow my seals out or something. At the bottom of this, there was water coming in out of the ground all the way around it. So I put in some gravel at the very bottom, and then I started dry stacking stones down in here, and I was kind of just tossing dry concrete up into it as I was going. Up a little bit higher, I started using flatter stones, and I really started throwing some wet concrete in there to help hold everything in place. I think that'll keep the dirt in real good. This thing should never cave in. And then on the very top level, I've got bricks kind of in a half circle. That'll be where I put, you know, a nice cover on top just to help all the weather not get down in there. I don't really care about critters and stuff getting in here because that's my water, and that's a sealed system. So, and then of course I've got a little bit of a ditch behind it, and I might put rocks and stuff back in there. I'm not really too worried about that because water will just come out and flow, you know, right down the side. And I was able to tie into the original electrical line under the ground. I dug a little trench. Up where that stake is right there is where the elbow is for the water. Same trench, and that went up to the original line that goes all the way up to the house. So that's kind of cool. I was able to just use everything, you know, the same way. Put a nice brass elbow in, put a valve in. Whenever I disconnect this to do anything, I gotta shut that off because a lot of water, you know, comes out. It's really annoying. So, I think probably I put a French drain in. I've got holes in the top of the bottom pipe right there. That goes all the way down the entire trench, and there it connects to a T, and I've got a pipe all the way around the spring box with holes in it underneath that gravel, and that you know, any water that gets in there will suck into that and just flow right down there. I need to fill this in with gravel and rocks like I said earlier. But I also put in one last little security system, or cleaning out kind of system, with these valves here. Now, this is the overflow for the spring box. So water is flowing through that right now. It's always flowing through that real nicely and pouring down the creek. And the reason I did this is because I actually tied these two together. Now, normally these shouldn't be tied together. This is the drain and my water. But what I did is I tied them together. This one right here on the bottom is closed right now, so no water's getting down in there. And this one's open. So if I close this off, you can hear the water suck down in there. That's closed off. and I'll open this one, water from the spring is going to flood down into the French drain, and you can see it start pumping out right there, and it goes, you know, all the way down. You see it rippling out, and that'll actually fill up this entire cavity down in here. And whenever dirt and stuff gets down in here, that'll just kind of help clean it out, and it actually fills up several inches. It gets, you know, real full with water. I'm hoping that that will help me keep the holes unplugged over time. You know, maybe once a month or once a year, I'll come out here and just run this setup right here for maybe 10 minutes or so. Get all the sediment out of there, and hopefully that'll stay flowing and not clog up or anything. That's kind of why I did that. You can see it really filling that up and pouring. That'll almost fill all the way up after a few minutes. Just kind of clean the dirt out. That's kind of just a little security system I put in for cleaning everything out. That right there was the original spring box that I put in. Unfortunately, the whole setup just wasn't going to work the way I did it. I poured concrete down in there, and that thing right there is not going anywhere for a long time. It's completely buried in concrete, which was kind of a mistake. I wasn't able to fully get the water out of there and stuff. Of course, now that I switched locations, I put a new one in. Of course, it's draining now for some reason, so it's kind of too late for that. But, oh well, I could learn from my mistake. So that's about it. It's a quick little update. I should maybe have one more video, and then I'll be done. Now, this setup that I've had has been working and running. That tank fills all the way to the top, and I've measured it to 7.5 gallons a minute, which is 10,800 gallons a day. That, of course, I'm only using about 200 of it, but this system is just, it's beautiful, it's great, I love it. And that is about it for now. Close that off and open my overflow back up. You see this trench right here will just drain out, you know, real nicely. Right back to where it was earlier. You can't even see the bottom pipe down there now. It's covered in water, but yeah, like I said, that's about it. Like I said, should be maybe one more video after this one. After I finish piling dirt on top of that, that'll be done, and then make a cover for that and fill the trench in with rocks, and that should be it.